Hello and welcome to the conversation. Today we have a counsellor, lawyer by profession, Jeeba Haran here in studio. So let's explore about public office and what he has to say. Hello Jeeba, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Well, I introduced yourself as a counsellor first and the lawyer, but actually, in fact, you're a lawyer first.
Lawyer first, yes.
So why did you choose law as a profession? What was the basis?
That's something that solves problems. That's a starting point.
Now, the reason I ask, in Tamil households or Tamil society, science subjects are the most preferred kind of, because I might actually get into controversy because we're talking about this quite often in many of the programs, but I wanted to get from a person who have actually had the primary and secondary education in back home, and then you came in here.
Sure.
So it was your natural choice, or is it a parental?
It's definitely not parental, although you feel which way you want to go out of who do you have in your family and in your surroundings. That's one thing, that's natural. But going back to the point that someone who has been educated in early years back in Jaffna, the choices those days in that country were very limited. So you look beyond what is going to be there beyond your school and college education. You look at what gives you a better career, which is predominantly speaking medicine, dentistry, and so on. But mind you, there have been many brilliant lawyers in our country as well, having come through the ranks. So that's one thing. But when we move to a place like this, where opportunities are plenty, there are different branches you can go into, different areas you can tap into. So it's important to have a wider outlook to your career and future.
So how, you were a strong advocate of looking at wider spectrum of law rather than focusing on a high street law practice, because you were actually talking about this
Sure.
before the show started. So what was your point there?
What I'm trying to say is, when many Tamil lawyers, as we know in this country, are in high street practice, many people have come qualified from country of origin and have gone through qualifying exams here to become lawyers. But young people who are coming out of schools and universities, they should look at the pinnacle of legal practice in this country, which is chancery bar or city practices, where the opportunities not only exist for higher things, but you can bring back onto the high street what you get in city practice.
So effectively, you're saying in layman's term, try to get a job in Gray's Inn Road.
Yes, if you're a lawyer.
So yeah, so what the whole dynamics of the industry is changing, because there's quite a lot to do, and a lot of lawyers coming in from Europe as well as in different countries. So how hard is it to actually change career, or someone who actually had a different background? So how hard is it here? First of all, just explain, is it the process is harder to change from a law degree from Sri Lanka or some other countries, from India, for example, or is it easier?
It's not that difficult, I don't think. I went through the normal route here, LLB and so on. But many people, as we know, have come through the conversion route. It can't be. I don't think it will be that difficult if you have within yourself what it takes.
I mean, before going into a very important topic which we want to talk about, your public office and your experience, just want to have a quick question on, is it the barristers, to become a barrister, is it just, you had to be an Etonian, or you had to be in the top class or elite? Is it same in the UK still?
Of course, you don't have to be Etonian, you don't have to go to Harrow School to become a barrister. It's about what you want, so you keep at it. Sometimes some people have, my colleagues, my classmates at university have sent out 200, 250 applications to get a top training contract or a pupillage. But you will come out of what you deserve, or if you put in the effort. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just I wanted to ask this for a clarification to get this out of the way
sure.
before we go into the very important aspects we want to talk about.
Let me sit up a bit then.
Yeah. So, what was your motive behind running to public office? Because there is a tradition that public office jobs are like, because I think the mindset from if you run as a politician, if you go into any kind of public office, you are not as a norm, or you that kind of perception among people. So breaking that barrier is hard. So what actually made you to become a councillor or to run for this role?
Yeah. I mean, if I were to give you the light answer first, I just want to fill up the potholes on the roads where I live. So that's what you go into local politics for. But see, being an elected official, it puts you in a place where you can influence the decision that's being made. You may not be able to have all the decision your way. That's not how it works. Then it'll become a dictatorship. It has to. You have to be at the top of a dictatorship.
Consensus.
Democracy work in that way, where you're elected and then you have an input into how or what decisions are being made. So if you're someone who wants certain things changed, you'd rather be in that room where decisions are being made. The reason for a particular decision is being discussed, rather than elsewhere reading on your newspaper or internet that, oh, by the way, there's a massive development coming just behind your garden. I'm just not talking about just my garden and the building, but generally speaking, what changes. And in local government, we discuss all things, the wider educational issues, how healthcare is delivered locally, and many things.
So I mean, my initial question was about this cultural stigma. So
Yeah.
did you have any issues with, like, did your close family looked at it and said, are you going to run for public office? Or was it kind of an acceptance?
One or two of them did ask me. What happened? One said. Why?
I think this is the comparison.
But that is because let's not fault people for thinking that, because the difference between politics as a career, which I haven't yet taken politics as a career, but many people do, and in mainstream, many people think of politics as a career. That's what they want to do, and that's what they want to retire with. But the issue with that for many of our parents is that the uncertainty of success. So if you go into electoral politics, you can run for elections and you may not win. There were some nine names on the ballot paper, and then 3 got elected. Other 6, they have to move on, and if they have chosen that as a career. So that's where the parents, I think, are probably reluctant to agree with the child who wants to go into politics.
I think it's also partly to do with comparison with subcontinent politicians.
I agree.
Which have
Absolutely.
a very bad stereotype,
Yes.
which they don't want to compare with. But
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
think that is true here.
That's another. I don't think I would have been a suitable person to go into politics pretty much anywhere else except UK. So anyone who is inclined that way or thinking about politics, and if you're in the UK, you have no issues. It's like any other career, any other job environment. How you conduct yourself, how others conduct towards you. So if you're in a large organization in business, that's how politics works here.
So let's understand now. You still hold your job, so you're a practicing lawyer in a local high street law firm, which you actively working on litigations, commercial law, and so on. And then you do the councillor role so the viewers, I could actually explain. It's so you won in May 2014, which is the last elections.
Yeah.
So I would say like roughly about few months that you are continuing as a
Yeah.
councillor.
That's right.
So you can balance that, your daytime job and then doing the council work as a part-time. How does it work?
Yes. The local government system is designed for people in other jobs or businesses can take part as councillors. So all the meetings are set in the evenings, typically 7:15. So you have your day's job, you have go refresh yourself, and then you can go to the meetings. Of course, you will have few engagements during the day. So as a councillor, your duties are predominantly, your official duties are predominantly in the evening. And you'll have your ward engagements that in my ward, we have a surgery once each month on Saturdays. So those sort of commitments are there. But apart from that, it's something that it's not you can't have it as a hobby, because you are responsible for what for your electorate. And
I mean, you are responsible for serious decision making in the
Absolutely.
local space.
Absolutely.
So those decisions are made in the evening sessions in chambers.
Yes, that's right. And you know, you'll be asked to take part in committees. Either a service committee or scrutiny committee and so on. So there's a fair bit of papers to look at as well before you go into a meeting and then prepare yourself for it. But you'll find your way in there. Plenty of training, plenty of induction sessions to walk a new councillor through. So it is exciting career, and don't stop at depend on how you see politics. Like I said,
yeah, that's what I'm going to come into, because one of the things I wanted to ask is, I think as a new councillor, being in the opposition cabinet is easier because, or do you think that you would have head-on wanted to take as a cabinet member, because currently you're in the opposition, right? Just to give understanding of it, you're in the Redbridge Council.
Yeah.
So Redbridge Council is now run by Labour, and you're part of the Conservative Party.
That's right.
So do you think that being in the opposition would be easier as a new starter, because you can observe things, or you felt that
you should know a little bit better on that, because it's easier to ask questions, harder to answer, right? So and it's easier to look at someone else's intentions and question them on it. It's not the opposition's job is not to block everything that the ruling party wants to do, but to make sure that the decisions are based on right analysis, right information, and right intentions, short term and long term. So there's many questions that opposition party will ask the ruling party to explain. That way, the public gets to hear why the decision is being made.
Yeah, I mean, while we are here before, because I was just leading on from what we were talking about, because Redbridge is a vibrant mixed cultural council, and you have different ethnicities, all 4 different schools, types of schools.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How is the mixture? Like, how do you feel? I mean, it's a very general question, I know, but I just wanted an open answer.
Yeah, it's an exciting borough, exciting area to live and bring your kids up in. I don't say that just as a councillor, because I've only been a councillor for a month, but I've been a resident of Redbridge for about now 14 years or so. Apart from the grammar schools and so on, the public school education is very good. That is testament to how the borough has made decisions. The motto or the catchphrase for the hook line, if you like, for Redbridge is a better place to live. So as councillors, our job will be to make sure that it continues that way. But going back to I think the central part of your question, what is good about Redbridge? It's a cliche, I suppose, to say that it's diversity. But given our audience, the Tamil community mainly, I think we should engage a lot more than we do now with other communities. let's mingle, so to speak.
So it's a kind of integration into the host communities while preserving your identity.
Yes.
Something like
Yeah. You speak to anyone and everyone, but you speak as a Tamil. Therefore, you're opening yourself up to others to ask you questions, so that you can explain what it means to be Tamil and what's our identity is, what it has been. A lot of people don't know. A friend of mine for some time, he asked me, so Tamil is how many in the world? So easier these days, you take your phone out, Google it, and then he was shocked. For him, there are only a few people.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, you actually led into that question. So I was about to ask, like, this large number of Tamils lives in Redbridge.
Yes.
And for example, I would say about quite. I mean, I don't want to put any figures, but I know it's quite a large proportion.
Yeah.
So this is where it'll be interesting for you to say how you get involved in local politics, why it's important to get involved in local politics, because I see very, very few second and third generation Tamils and getting involved in local politics. So, so what should they do? I mean, what would your kind of inspiration that you can share with them?
Yeah, speak to people. Speak to who are already in politics. Speak to councillors, your local councillor. Or if you find something that's not right around your area, just email them. Particularly in Redbridge, there's a website, the council's own website called Redbridge Eye. That gives you everything that you know about what goes on in council.
Now, I'm specifically interested in what kind of inspiration or advice you'll give it to the youngsters who wanted to run into the political public office in the council.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to start from engaging with who are your local politicians, and everyone will welcome you in. Irrelevant to what the level of engagement you want to have, will all welcome you. Doesn't matter where you're from, and so just come in, contact your local politician, and go and see them for something or another, and say, I would like to help. Don't worry about which party, because everything is the same. Meaning everything has a voice. So just see what you feel. And then go into that. Don't go into one party or another because you know someone there. You can break into any party.
So that based on your values and based on your ideology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's a really honest answer, because normally politicians comes in, they will advocate for one party. And
no need at all. Go with your feeling, and that's where you will shine. If you go against your feeling, it's going to be difficult for you to work at it. So
be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself.
That brings it to an interesting question, because there is often kind of a connotation. Say you go into councils or like local authority politics, it's pothole politics. So you do not have much say on national or international politics or international decisions. Is that 100% so, or will you actually give a different opinion on this? Because you are very much interested and you are very much involved in national and international politics.
Sure.
So how you place yourself into pothole politics?
It's pothole politics gives you a platform where you're getting in touch with people. When I say pothole politics, the minute you're an elected official, the handshake is slightly different. So when you're meeting someone who is say in national politics, the introduction is different. Your local, say, if you're at a dinner and your local parties association chair will introduce you as one of our local councillors to, say, a minister or an MP. So already the ears are open, and pothole politics. Once you fill those potholes, then you have the next level to go. Mind you, our youngsters should, in my view, start thinking about targeting running for parliament and so on. But this is where it starts, because the parliamentary selection process starts at local association. Local party associations very much involved with local politics. So you have to walk through these to knock on the other door. So I would say if you're that way inclined, if you're interested in politics, just start where you are, and quickly you can move on to bigger, better things.
The benefit of youngsters who wanted to get into these, is there any formal qualification, or how do they actually assess? Like, you know, I know I'm just for the benefit of people, I'm just asking this question because just to clarify.
Sure.
So in terms of what are the formal qualifications, or maybe the criteria, because there might be some limitations,
Yeah.
there might be some exclusions. So in general, like, what are the basic threshold or basic criteria?
No need for formal qualifications. That's the starting point. Criteria, not that many, I don't think, but you have to be able to put in some hours, and mind you, canvassing and so on is there as well. So you have to be able to dedicate some level of time. And is there any restriction? There are some. There's, like anything else, say if you have any criminal convictions and that sort of thing, they'll be looked at. Then you have your selection process. You have to go through interviews with the local party and local government group, or your party group. Different boroughs will operate different parties will operate different types of interviews. So that's it. And then knock on the doors of your local residents and explain why they should select you to represent them. So that's it.
Let's move on from this, because you have given enough inspiration and information today. So in terms of Tamil identity, because I'm aware of your work and you are quite passionate about integration and actually bring other communities in to understand each other's cultures in a vibrant society, because obviously in your particular ward you don't have much Tamils. You had a mainstream voters who have actually voted, and you're well known there. So in terms of preserving identity, in terms of the cultural nuances and so on, so what would you like to actually say to the wider audience? Because there is a kind of a thinking process of saying, okay, you can only do certain things when you have certain kind of background or maintain language, religion, and so on. But it's very difficult in a diaspora situation, a diaspora country, because also in a second and third generation diaspora population. So in general, what will your kind of sum?
In terms of preserving identity, I think diaspora communities, our community is very good in sticking to culture and in introducing the culture to children and so on, compared to many diaspora communities who have come here before us. But that said, we shouldn't be of the opinion, or I don't think we should exclude a Tamil because that Tamil is either not fluent in Tamil or cannot speak Tamil. It could be controversial. It's not as if I'm advocating that let's not educate or let's not focus on teaching our children Tamil. Of course we must. But there are few people who I've come across, when asked to come and participate in discussions about our issues and so on, they say, "Oh, I don't speak Tamil well. I can't read Tamil." So that sort of hesitation comes in, and if we don't engage them, despite them not knowing Tamil, they will get sidelined and they will move on. They'll become outsider to the Tamil community in this country. Therefore, whilst language is the identity, language alone is not the identity. So often you yourself may have heard me talk about Scotland as a nation. Gaelic is gone for them. It only exists in museums and libraries. But they're Scots because they kept saying they're Scots. They made sure the boundary between England and Scotland is identified and remained. So they are Scots, irrespective of whether they speak their language or not. I am, just for the record and for clarification, I'm not saying that it is not important, therefore don't need to do much to teach Tamil. But what I am saying is, let's not exclude people who, for whatever reason, have not got themselves fluent in Tamil.
Yeah, so you're coming to the end of the conversation. Just to give the final remarks or what you would like to say, and also if you could include a little bit of your initiative or your idea on bringing multicultural awareness, like you wanted to actually run something in Redbridge to bring the other communities or other identities to understand about the culture as well as share. So if you just give a final remarks and also conclude with a catchphrase, what you want to say.
I spoke to you personally on it. What I would like to see in Redbridge is friendship days celebrated. Say, Tamil Punjabi Friendship Day, Tamil Urdu Friendship, Tamil Gujarati Friendship Day, Tamil Somali Friendship Day. So to open ourselves up to the other communities so that they can look at us and want to know what we are about, what our identity is, what our culture is, how we do things and so on, and equally learn what they have to offer. So that way we're not cocooning ourselves into a small community within a small community. World is large place. Let's find out what's there. Let them find out about us. Catchphrase. That's it.
Catchphrase. Let them find out about us. Thank you very much, Jiva, because it's inspiring and interesting to know about certain aspects, and we can go on, but there is a time frame that we have to conclude our conversation.
If you have half a second, I might want to add this. You've told me that I'm inspirational. I don't know about that. If I am, I'm glad. And you yourself are a very inspirational person. I know that, a lot of personal contacts. Perhaps someone like you should interview yourself one day. Maybe we should swap seats.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much for another episode of Conversation. Today we had an extensive discussion about local politics or local authority politics, and also what Jiva Haran has to say. Thank you very much for joining us today. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.